Hey, welcome everybody. Gray Brewer, hello. Welcome from Michigan. Hope everybody's doing well. Almost did not make it today. I picked up my daughter from the airport, and the airport's like an hour and a half drive away. Thankfully, she actually got out. Her plane arrived a little bit early, so I was able to make it back. I just got home like 10 minutes ago, so you get the unshaved, unshowered version of Sean, but that is all right. Um, yeah, it's it's been quite a week. I have the apps like I think that I canceled last week because of my mouth. I think I might have. Or no, what happened last? Something happened. Was last week Easter? Maybe that was it. Maybe it was Easter. Yeah, it was. But I probably would have canceled anyway. I have never had my mouth hurt so bad after an orthodontic adjustment as this past time. So, not the Thursday that just happened, but the Thursday before, they did like a major adjustment. Like I got like a power chain on the top, and then I have elastics again, like rubber bands. And I've had the same size, like the rubber bands themselves are really tiny. Hold on. Got them in my pocket. So they're these really tiny, tiny little rubber bands. Like, I mean, you can, I don't know if it's gonna, there. I don't know if you can see that, but they're very tiny, right? Yeah, it's not gonna focus. But um, these are the same size I had before, and they used to go like from the top canine to like the bottom canine. Now those same little rubber bands go from the top to the bottom, and then all the way to the very back. And so like it stretches to be like this big around, and it's so tight, and I mean, it was like pulling out my teeth. It hurts so bad I can't even explain it. Now it still hurts when I bite, but before it was just hurting so bad I couldn't talk. I just wanted to walk into traffic. But anyway, the hope is that this is close to the end now. The orthodontist said like he thinks we're getting close to the end. So man, I don't see him again until June, but hopefully in June he'll like take the stupid braces off. And yeah, I'll have to wear a retainer for a full year, 24/7, and then I'll have to wear a retainer at night for the rest of my life after that. But hey, if I can get these suckers off, I'm gonna be more than happy. Um, anyway, family get together last week, yes, and that was true. I was at my daughter Lydia and Neil's house, but oh, poppy seed. Um, But even if that weren't the case, I think I probably would have canceled. I was just so miserable. It was just the worst. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Mason, Northern Chimp, Shane, Bite Moose, Samples and Tests, the Great Brew, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Um, yeah, I hope everybody. So I don't think we have any like Australian folks or anybody from the far southern hemisphere. So I think spring is coming to all of us at some, I mean, some of us are warmer than others, but I think spring is finally getting here. I mean, it was in the 40s, and right now it is above 50 right now, Fahrenheit. Um, so I think spring is finally gonna happen. It's still so cold. I mean, you don't go outside without a jacket still, but nevertheless, I'm looking forward to it. All that work and all have wonderful teeth. Yeah, it's true. They can affect it's you can't get like braces for your face. I guess it is what it is. We're stuck with my face. um, and yeah, I mean the frustrating part. I mean, I know I say this all the time, but I I had straight teeth before. I had one crooked tooth from an injury on the bottom. That's the only reason I got the braces. And if I had to do it over again, I would just keep the crooked tooth because my top teeth were perfectly fine. All of my other teeth were fine. That one crooked tooth, and then my bite got so messed up, I had to get top braces, and it was supposed to be 6 months to a year max, and we're well over a year now. Anyway, bite moose. No, I totally understand. I'm approaching half a century old. I'm lucky that I still have any hair. Uh, and yeah, I didn't. I hadn't shaved because, like I said, I just got home like now about 15 minutes ago because we've been here for 5 minutes. But anyway, is it offline? Oh, well, that stinks. Let's see. Should we do this together? Let's see if we can get Rust Desk going. Oh yeah, something. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll show you what happened here. Let's see. Share screen. No, I'm going to share a window, and that window is going to be Garfield. All right. There. So this is the window that streams, but yeah, it looks like did not run normally. So what I don't know is, will it start working right away? Let's see. Not sure how we could. I'll probably get a notification if it starts streaming. The thing is, I don't know if there's a two-part thing where it like has to go to YouTube, and then it also has to launch OBS, and looks like OBS crashed. So I'm going to close this. Stop screen sharing. All right. And then let's see if I open up a browser. Let's see if it started. Where do I? Oh, I'm in a browser. It's back up. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, thank you for letting me know. And yeah, this time it wasn't an authentication issue. It was an OBS crashing issue, which, I mean, that stinks, but whatever. It happens. I really should set up some sort of way to notify me. I don't know how I could do that. I wonder if the API like has a is live type feature, and then like I could like at 9 o'clock in the morning or something, I could like send out a query like, is it live? Is the channel live? Because that you'd think that would work. Anyway, yeah, thanks for letting me know, and hopefully it won't break again. I mean, I'm sure it will break again, but hopefully I'll notice. And it's frustrating because the daily uploads are completely separate from the live stream. So like, if you look at the live stream, yeah, like, I mean, I can, you know, I'll post a link so we all know what we're talking about here. So, peace. All right. So that is the, that's the link to the live stream. And if you look, it like shows, oh, it's all the way up to 59 degrees now. Like there's a little overlay at the top with the weather, and there's like the nerdlinks.net logo on the bottom here. I mean, I guess we can look at it together too, right? Yeah. So like, theater mode, there we go. Like the, oh yeah, you can see like up here, it's got the weather. That's just an overlay in OBS and stuff. And so the daily activity, like all the motion detection from the day, it uploads, but this is an OBS overlay. So that's not part of the motion detection. So all that stuff is just pulled directly from my security cam, and that doesn't have the overlay. So yeah, it's a whole different process. But anyway, I'll stop screen sharing. There, get my big ugly face back. So yeah, my daughter went to Houston this weekend. She went to a coffee conference. She's a manager of a local coffee shop, and yeah, she was at this really fancy coffee thing. It's funny, we got texted like in the middle of the day. She's like, I've had so much espresso. What plugin do I use for the weather overlay? Let's look, because I don't remember. It's just some HTML I probably got from somewhere. Let's see. Okay. Here, I'll share the screen. We'll look together again, because that was fun. Window, Garfield. All right, here we go. So the weather overlay is literally just this desktop widget. So let's look. Oh, you know what? It might have my API key. So I guess maybe I shouldn't necessarily look at that. I wonder, I probably have an API key. So hold on just a second. Let me stop screen sharing, because I don't necessarily want to show the code if it's got my API key. Yeah, it does have my API key in there. So I will get a link to like what one I'm using. Let's see. It's weather widget with time overlay for OBS. Author Norman Golson the fourth. Let me try to get a. Here we go. Oh shoot! Oh, what are you doing? Oh my gosh! Stop! Holy cow! What did I? There's a. Okay. Okay. Close that. Close. I'm going to go to the website here. Just got to open up another tab I can share. All right, now let's try to share a Chrome tab, the new tab. All right, there we go. Paste that in. Make sure it's the. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, so this is the. I'm going to paste it into the chat. That's the one that I use. Hey, Lewis. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I use, and you do need an open weather map API key, but I think they're still free. I don't remember. There's like their API thing got weird. Let's see, the free API key. It got weird though. I remember there was yeah, so I have an account, but like yeah, there's all this weird stuff like the one call API. You can get this for free, which is what I did, and you get 1,000 API calls per day for free. And I mean, I don't use that many calls in a day, so it's not too many. But I don't remember if I had to put in payment information or not. I don't think so. I think it's just free, and then if you go over 1,000 and you don't have a payment, I think you can put a limit. Is what I think you can do. You can say like, don't like if I hit 1,000, don't do any more until it resets, because I know that I made sure I wasn't going to accidentally like get a huge API charge or whatever. Yeah, 1,000 calls is a lot of weather, and especially since it's not a site that other people are pulling from. Like if I had this on my website and my website got super popular and it didn't cache the data, I could see that being an issue. But since it's just me pulling it for my own stream, like nobody's pulling that. And I think there's a timer in the actual code where it like stores it and caches it and only like retrieves it every so often. But yeah, if you put it on your website, like this is designed specifically for OBS, but if you put it on your website where people were like constantly pulling it and it didn't have a cache, like if it only cached in the person's browser, it would still pull a fresh one every time somebody hit it. And if you were popular, it could be bad. So anyway. Yeah, there's a link to get the API key. Yeah, I clicked that. That's how I got to the website. Sorry if I had already closed the window, but yeah. Anyway, that's what I use. It's just fun for the live stream to have like the weather and stuff there. And the camera actually puts the time on it, so I don't use that feature of the overlay. But Tanuki Zoo, yeah, I did give an update right at the beginning. I would have canceled last week even if it weren't Easter and I wasn't having family dinner, because my mouth hurts so bad from this last adjustment. I have these tiny little rubber bands again, like the same size that just went from like my top canine to my bottom canine. Now it goes all the way to the very back of my mouth. It's a very tight, and they put like a power chain on the top braces, so my entire mouth just felt like I got kicked by a horse. Supposedly, I'm getting close to the end, and I actually kind of believe him, because now when I close my mouth, my teeth actually line up. Like that's been the issue. My top teeth were perfectly straight before. But when they fixed my one crooked tooth, like, when when you close your mouth, your teeth kind of line up. Mine were like all janky and like all like messed up, and it was like really weird. And so I would close my mouth and like one tooth on the top would hit one tooth on the bottom and the rest of them wouldn't. And so that's what the last like 9 months has been trying to get my actual bite to line up like normal again. And this last time, even though it was the most painful one by far, it finally moved my teeth. So they're all still loose, and it'll take like the 6 weeks for the bones to fill into my jaw to make my teeth solid. But anyway, I'm hoping I'm nearing the end. I go back in June and see the orthodontist. I'm hoping that maybe he takes them off then, or at least like takes impressions for making the retainers, and then I come back in and he takes them off. So we'll see. I don't know. You know what? Okay, so let's talk about a crossbite. I didn't know a crossbite was a thing. So if you don't know what a crossbite is, because I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know it was a thing. It's where when you like bite and chew, you chew on one side or the other of your mouth. But like if you're chewing on the right and your molars line up on the right, the molars on the left are not lined up. They don't touch. And then you would like kind of shift your jaw over and you would chew on the other, one side or the other. Like you have to put your jaw across, whichever side you want to chew on. I just thought that's how mouths worked. I really didn't know that was a thing. So when they fixed this one crooked tooth in the bottom, I think that's what messed up my bite. And in order to get it to line up, he actually did fix my crossbite, which again, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I'd heard the term, but I didn't know what it meant. And so now I don't have a crossbite anymore. Now when I do put my teeth together, like both sides touch, which was just fascinating. That I truly thought that everybody's mouth, you either chewed on one side or the other, but like when you closed your mouth, both sets of molars didn't touch. Like I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was how mouths were supposed to work. So anyway, yeah, I didn't go in to get that fixed, but I'm going to have that fixed as well. And by the time I'm done. So, hey, yay, I guess. I don't know. I had lived my whole life chewing on one side and then the other. And now, I don't know. It's strange. It's weird that when I close my mouth, my teeth all touch. It's just really bizarre for me because that was never the case before. Anyway, yeah. So that's what's going on there. What was I talking about before that? Probably nothing interesting. I don't know. This is bad because my lip gets pinched really bad because it's like I don't know how you can see, like that angled rubber band kind of, when I close my mouth, it makes like scissors with my braces. So when I close my mouth, it pinches and tries to cut my cheek and lips. So that's just a really weird thing. So when I talk, like I think I'm lisping more than I ever have with braces. And it really makes recording videos for CBT Nuggets difficult. This past week, I didn't get a single skill completed because for half the week, I couldn't even function. And then now when I talk, it gets really sore really quick. So I don't know how that's going to go. We'll see how this week goes. This week is the end of a pay period. So I got to get skills completed. But yeah, it'll be fine. It's going to be great. How am I feeling mentally these days? I really need the farm to sell. And Bite Moose, he said, yeah, I have the farm back up for sale. It's actually off the market right now. It's going to go back on in the middle of the week, towards the end of the week, with fresh listing. We're going to go out and just do some spring cleaning out there. And I just want it to sell. I want that stress out of my life. And because once that stress is out of my life, then we can like pay off some credit cards and actually not worry so much about it. It'll be really nice. So yeah, I'm doing okay. I think the springtime coming helps, but my wife and I really need a vacation. We really need to just, we haven't had any sort of vacation since before COVID. and that's too long to go without any sort of break. So anyway. So yeah, Tanuki's. So yeah, the farm, we did put it for sale, and it hasn't sold yet. We had a couple offers, and some things fell through. I would love to keep it, but it's just a little too far away to be practical. If it were like 10 minutes closer to town, maybe, but it's just a ways out there. And my daughter and her husband bought a house, so they're not living there anymore, which means now I'm paying utilities and taxes out there. So yeah, I just got to get rid of. We just have to get rid of it. And yeah, I'm going to be sad to see it go, but it'll be a bit of a relief when it does go. So yeah, that'll be good. Not been in a holiday in 12 years. Yeah, see, that's just I don't think that's healthy. And I think about Lewis a lot because and he does a really good job with work-life balance. Man knows how to take time off, which I applaud. So the NFL draft. Oh, wow. 200,000 people for the NFL draft. Yeah, that doesn't sound relaxing at all. I've had nightmares like that. Bite moves moving 2. Oh, the paperwork is a pain in the butt. Yeah. I don't like them. I don't like to move. It's so hard to move. Especially when you just got stuff and like you just move stuff. And I just wish there was an easy way to just get rid of stuff and then not regret it. It seems like I have so much junk around and I should just get rid of it. But it seems like every time I do, I'm like, oh, I need that. Oh, I got rid of it. I hate that so much. So anyway. Yeah, the last time, Lewis was in the Dominican Republic, which is just I think it's one time zone to the east. I think they're a little bit further east. So I think they're the Atlantic time zone, I think is what that one is. So yeah, it was close. I have friends there. Sometimes they come to the chat, or sometimes they come to the live stream. I haven't met them in person, but if I go there, I totally have to go and see them. They have really neat Linux events in the Dominican Republic. There's a really strong Linux community there. So, White Moose, you are not wrong. It is amazing how much crap you can gather over the years. And you know, when our house burned down and we lost everything we owned, in some ways, I mean, that's a blessing, right? It's like your stuff, you just start with nothing. And it's like, oh, I don't have like the stress of having stuff. It was really cool. But then not only do you like quickly start to get stuff, but people give you a lot of stuff. And so it's almost like you get a kickstart of stuff that you don't need because people are generous and they give you stuff. I don't know. Yeah. I wish it was easier to purge. And it isn't even just the emotional part of purging. It's just like the physically making it happen. Like it's really expensive to get rid of junk, like to throw it away, or like a lot of the donation places only want specific things. And like, you have to like pack it in specific ways. And like, it's just such a pain in the butt. And then like, what do you do about something that you should sell? Selling stuff is such a pain in the butt because then you got to sell it and list it and pack it and ship it and all that stuff. So anyway, appreciate the distaste for earthly possessions that comes along with moving. Yeah. A useful thing is, yeah. And that's, I mean, yeah, I guess I should be popping these up. It's still on the screen, but yeah. And that's really the thing, right? It seems like every time I do let myself get rid of something, I like, oh, I really need that thing. And I just got rid of it. So yeah, we'll see. I did do a nerdy thing recently. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I did do a nerdy thing. Have you ever heard of Trackar? Trackar? T-R-A here. T-R-A-C-C-A-R. I think it's .org. I think that's the website. If it's not, I apologize, but I think it's Trackar. Yeah, it's .org. So here, let's share a screen again. There we go. So yeah, Trackar. It's like Life 360, but it's self-hosted. And let's go to my thing. I don't know how close it'll go, but that's all right. Trackar. Yeah, yeah. So here we'll zoom out a bit to this is so I have some old phones and I have data sims from my Google Fi account, which um which allows me to do like IoT stuff for really cheap. And I basically just put a data only sim in a phone and I installed the Trackar client on an old phone and it's just plugged in the vehicles. And then um it will track them. You can also put it on your phone and use it like Life 360, but I noticed it did kind of drain some battery from my phone. But I'm using it along with Life 360. So probably if I just chose one, I could do that. But yeah, Tanuki Zoo, yes. So there's no fees. Oh wait, did I not share it? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, shared it. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong window. Oh, you can't see my other screen though. Hold on. Replace screen sharing with. There. Okay. Sorry. This is my self-hosted installation of it. And you can see it just shows like I don't want to get too close here, show you where I live. But anyway, these are all the devices and it shows like that it tracks them or whatever. But I wanted to be able to do like Life 360, but self-hosting completely. And I think if I got rid of Life 360 and just had the Trackar client on a phone, which the client's free as well, it would do a good job on a phone. But as long as you can keep the device plugged in, like in a vehicle, I mean, it doesn't matter if it uses up the battery really. And they sell devices that plug directly into the OBD2 port on your car, like underneath the dash. So like if I really wanted to stick with this and like do it properly, I could just plug those devices into the OBD port and it would just take a data sim, and you can get IoT sims if you don't want to use Google Fi that are pretty cheap, but and it just updates. And the cool part is I don't know, can I I got rid of I can't show it because I got rid of the client on my phone. But you can have it so that it updates like every 5 minutes, like it just sends a ping with the location every 5 minutes. But you can also do where if it moves more than a certain amount, it will send an update. So like if it moves more than like 20 meters, it'll send an update. And so when you're driving, it sends more frequent updates than every 5 minutes. And it can also you can also tell it to say, if I turn like a corner or if I make a curve more than a certain number of degrees. So I like have it set to like 70 degrees. So like if I make a turn, at the turn, it will send an update. So you can see a really good like road path for the vehicle. And that's better than Life 360 does. So it's pretty cool. And if it goes and it buffers on the phone or on the device. So like if you go to a dead zone, it still records all of the things. And as soon as you get back into a live zone, it will update all the things. So your map still shows the proper stuff. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it. It's just running in a Docker container. And it's completely free, and it was just pretty cool to set up. So I'm gonna probably get a couple of the OBD devices and plug directly in. I'm just, like I said, I'm just using a couple old phones with some data sims in the client just to see how well it worked, but it works well enough that I might do that. Cause I used to do that with, there's a company called Automatic, not the WordPress company, but like a different company. And they had OBD plug-in things that they would like email you if there were problems with your car. Like it was a way to keep track of like check engine light stuff, but it also had a built-in SIM card and GPS. So so it was really great, and you could track it, and they had an API and stuff. But Life 360 is getting harder and harder to integrate with an API. There's like a hack you can do it with Home Assistant now, but I don't expect it to last forever because it's completely unsupported. But Trackar or Trackar, I don't know how you're supposed to say it, is pretty great because it's open source, and there's no fees. And yeah, the OBD device, exactly, it'd be less messy, and then it would turn on and off when you turn the vehicle on and off. Like right now, the phones are in the car in a constant charging state. And as long as, you start the car even every couple days, it's not going to drain the car battery. But it's not ideal, right? It's not ideal to just have a phone shoved in somewhere next to a charging port. The OBD port is definitely the way to go. So I just wanted to try out the software and see how it worked. And I might do that. I wanted to like build my own devices, like with ESP32, Arduino boards with like, GPS and SIM boards. But it's actually, when you start getting all the pieces, it's more expensive to do that than to just buy a pre-made OBD device with Trackar already installed. So that's probably what I'll do. Anyway, it's been a fun project that I did, and I don't remember the motivation why I started doing it, but I think it was because I couldn't talk for a couple days, and so I was sitting in my office just full of self-pity because my mouth hurt, and I just started playing with nerdy stuff. So anyway, yeah, but it's a cool project. And I like the client. It's, there's a client for iOS or Android. They're free. And it just updates to your own personal server, which is just pretty cool. And it doesn't have much requirements. The Docker container is pretty small. The resources on the server are very small. I didn't have to sign up for anything. Like I didn't have to sign up at trackar.org in order to get the software. I just installed it and everything is local. So. You're currently immersed in Sinclair's ZX Spectrum hardware shenanigans. Cool. And I mean, Lewis, if anybody here doesn't know, he's the kind of guy that fixes computers with a soldering gun, which just is awesome. That's beyond my ken. That's not something that I'm good at. I'm not even good at soldering. I'm of the opinion that soldering requires a person with 3 hands, and I only have 2 hands. So yeah, I'm just not good at soldering. Adapters, board repairs. Yeah, you're just a full-blown nerd, my friend. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. I did, I think last time we talked, I was talking about the Calyx, and this is a US only thing, but Calyx Internet, if anybody's familiar, it's like, this is an old hotspot from Calyx, but it's this unlimited internet or unlimited cellular hotspot that you can get from Kix Internet, and it's I think $400 a year for LTE service, or $500 a year for 5G service, and then you have to pay once to get the hardware. But anyway, I got it because of the farm. I wanted to be able to have security cameras at the farm. And it's good because there was an incident out there where somebody was doing stuff at the farm and like the police were involved. It was ugly, but having the security cameras was good. But I got their new hotspot device, and I have to admit, it's pretty nice. It's a full-blown hotspot router. It even has an Ethernet port, and yeah, it's running the whole farm security camera system, and it's unlimited, which makes it really nice because I'm not worried about like using too much data like on my Google Fi plan. So yeah, I too. Yeah, old arcade cabs are fun. So the funny thing about old arcade cabs, like that was the first time I ever got published. I mean, you see it over my shoulder now. There's an arcade cab on the Linux Journal cover hanging on my wall. That was the first time I was ever published. I had built a MAME cabinet inside of an actual arcade cabinet. I put like a monitor in there and a Linux computer, and I actually had a rat's nest where I used the XY matrix and a keyboard to wire up buttons. It was actually pretty cool. It was a fun project, and I think it was a pretty good article. But yeah, like restoring the old actual boards, I am less interested in that because it's like, oh, but then you have like a single game, and MAME is just so amazing that you can get so many different games working with emulation that, yeah, it's awesome. And I looked recently, and MAME has changed over the years. It's more complicated than it used to be, I think. Because like I was confused the last time. I was like, oh, I should make sure I have the complete collection. And it's like, oh dear, I don't even know what that means anymore. But Anyway. Oh, a retro hardware Discord. That's cool. I have a friend that was a co-host on Floss Weekly with me. He has a retro YouTube channel where he like goes and gets and fixes old computer hardware and stuff. This is, I can't remember what his channel is. Retro Hack. I don't know. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see, my subscriptions. All subscriptions. If I click on that. Let's see. Retro. Dang it. Oh. Retro Hack Shack. I'll post a link to his channel. Come on. Why can't I go there? There we go. Retro Hack Shack. Anyway, this is his channel. He's a friend of mine that does some cool stuff with old hardware. But anyway, yeah, he does cool stuff, and it's like restoring old hardware. And I am such a huge fan of especially old game emulation, that I like the old games, but I've just never had the skills to make the old hardware work, except, well, and I've bought some of the stuff on eBay, and I know I've talked about them before, but like the Cris, Krizz, he makes game like flash carts that I don't even know how they work, but you use them on the original hardware. So like I have one for the NES, I have one for the Genesis, and yeah, they're it's a flash cart, and you just load it into the original with all the ROMs on like an SD card, and it's such a cool experience. In fact, I bought the original NES machine with a light zapper gun and a 32-inch Sony Trinitron CRT television, so I could play Duck Hunt. And then I actually bought the Mario 1 game itself because I couldn't. He was out of stock of the Cris flash cart thing, but I think I have the flash cart now. Maybe I don't even have the NES one. Maybe I never did get it. But yeah, that was fun. So I like old gaming, even if I don't do it much. I think it's because when I was younger, I couldn't afford a lot of those gaming systems. And so now I want to have them, even though I really don't ever play them, which may be a weird thing and probably something I should talk to a therapist about. But nonetheless, yeah, if you look, I mean, you can't really see, but I have there's a Sega Genesis machine with the Cris cartridge, the NES, Nintendo 64 with the Cris cartridge. I do not have an SNES because I have the SNES Mini, like the one that Nintendo released, and you can actually put ROMs on that one. So I didn't feel the need to have an actual SNES. The only reason I got the NES, even though I already have the NES Mini that you can load more ROMs on, I got the actual NES so that I could play Duck Hunt with that CRT television. This is Tanuki's. Oh my gosh, you are not kidding. That 32-inch Sony Trinitron is, it's not just heavy. It is comically heavy. It is ridiculously heavy. Like, I cannot believe how heavy it is. I think it was like 190 pounds, which is, it's just insane how heavy it is. So yeah, anyway, it is interesting that the light gun requires a CRT TV. And I think, they've done things that like allow you to do hacks so that you can like have a different light zapper gun experience. But yeah, to actually use it, it does require the CRT television. So ooh, White Moose, I don't think I ever knew the Mortal Kombat cheat code. I mean, I know the Konami code, up, up, down, down, left, right, BA. But I didn't know that about the Mortal Kombat one. That's interesting. 32-inch JVC, yeah. Have I seen the video about the largest produced CRT television? I don't think so, Lewis. I don't think so. My father-in-law, before he passed, had a rear projection TV, and I have always wondered if that would have worked with the light gun, because it was a projection TV, but I don't know. It was cool. It was like 60 inches, I think. 4x3, pretty blurry, but I don't know if that worked or not. Dullard was a Genesis blend. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't play many games. I played a couple games. I had an NES machine growing up. Like, I bought a used one from a kid when he upgraded to a Super Nintendo. I bought his used Nintendo. And so my friend and I would rent Nintendo games over the weekend, because we were so cool that's how we spent our weekends, like when we were in high school. So we would rent NES games and we would try to beat the game over the weekend. But I didn't have any newer system than the original NES. It was outdated, but again, I bought it used. So I'll have to look at that link, Lewis, to check it out. I can't click from this window when somebody posts a link, which is annoying, but I'll have to look at that. An actual CRT. It's interesting. And who's the guy on YouTube who's all about CRTs? Epos Fox. It's fun to watch a lot of his stuff about CRT stuff. Like, he has actually even been uploading some 4x3 video to YouTube, which I find fascinating. But anyway, Nintendo 64 is my childhood because my dad kept his. You, my friend, are, if your dad kept his, I'm older than your dad probably. But nonetheless, I have a Nintendo 64 now. And it's funny. So one of my daughters, her friend, borrowed my, Nintendo 64 because I have the flash cart and I have the 100 most popular Nintendo 64 games, and like I got all the controllers, and I've got Rumble packs for the controllers and stuff. So like she relived her childhood with her friends when they borrowed it over a weekend, but I just don't know the games. I never had one. I never played one actually, but I wanted to collect all the things, and so yeah. As an adult, I bought a stupid Nintendo 64 with all the bells and whistles, and like I think there's an HDMI adapter that you can get with it. I don't really remember what I did. Somehow it hooks up to HDMI. I don't remember if Nintendo released a thing that hooked to HDMI or exactly how that worked, but somehow I had it that somehow I hooked the Nintendo 64 up to HDMI. So anyway, you're a nerd now because you have a monitor turned vertically. So I do too. I mean, I don't know how much I've shown of my, I can at least show the, let's see, displays, range. I wonder if I can share that window. Let's see. Share window. Yeah, here. I don't know how well that'll show up, but so yeah, I have on my desk, I have the two, like, I don't know if I can, yeah. Okay, so this is a 32-inch Dell 4K monitor. This is a 32-inch Dell monitor. Down here is my Wacom One. It's a 13-inch Wacom tablet. And then over here is a 27-inch Dell monitor, but it is in portrait mode, and it's off to the left. You know what? I don't use it as much as I expected that I would, but it's cool to have it. And the reason, like, this is a 32-inch, but it's extremely high resolution. This is 27-inch. So size-wise, it's not much smaller, but it looks a lot smaller in the display arrangement because it's lower resolution, right? It's not as high a quality. monitor. Like these two Dell monitors, they're each 32-inch USB-C, probably more than 4K. I don't know. They're the nicest monitors I've ever owned in my life. And I got them from work. I didn't pay for them myself. But anyway, yeah, I used to have a fifth monitor that was a teleprompter. It's actually up there. Of course, you can't see it, but I have a teleprompter monitor up there. It's the Elgato. It's an Elgato teleprompter, but it's not plugged in. I've just never used it. Let's see. Aside from the pronounced ZX, well, it depends on where you live. It's pronounced ZX from here. Oldest console you have is a GameCube. Oh yeah, so my son-in-law really likes a GameCube, and I think he might get one. But what I like is if you get the original Wii, like they made a Wii that didn't have GameCube compatibility, but the original Wii had the GameCube compatibility, so you could play GameCube games in it. And then, well, I haven't done it. Supposedly, you can get the GameCube images and play them natively on one of the original Wiis using like USB loader or something, like if you hack the Wii. So that's something I haven't set up in a long time, but I had a hacked Wii for years, and my girls grew up playing that, where I just I modded it, but it was a soft mod of the Wii, and then I attached a USB drive to it, and like just had all the games that I could just pick, and they'd load off a hard drive much quicker than off disk. That was fun. I think that was my family, when my kids were growing up, that was like the game system was the Wii. And the girls loved it and had friends over, and they all played all the games on there and stuff. The missus has an Atari 2600 in games, if that counts. Bite Moose, you know what? A 2600. I actually want to get one of the 2600. What do they call it? Like the remakes. They have a name for them. Retro ones. Like the redone one. I actually thought about getting an Atari 2600 because I don't just want to get one of the cheap ones that you can get online, because I want the ones with the paddles to play like the paddle games. But I haven't set up the Atari 2600 system yet. I mean, it's really easy to emulate, and even in a web browser, you can emulate all the games, but those paddle games are ones that are less common to play. And so I wanted to get the paddles working and stuff. I have some of the original, like, new in box Atari 2600 joysticks, but the problem is, even though it's new in box, the cables actually got really stiff and like hard, and they're like crack if you try to use them, just from age, not from use or abuse. They were literally in the box, but they just didn't age well, which bums me out. So mine is 18-volt, 20 horizontal laptop monitor. Nice. Different display link device for my Wacom Tablet 1. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I think the Wacom one requires HDMI, and I have hooked it up with a display link thing before, but right now this Mac Studio supports, I think it supports 4 monitors, and then the Elgato teleprompter was a display link. I think that's how it did that, because it doesn't support 5 monitors, but I think it supports 4. But anyway, the Rochester, New York airport has a small free arcade with classic games. That's cool. That's cool. I've never been to the Rochester, New York airport. I've never actually been to New York at all, but that's cool. Yeah. And the one that's over my shoulder, we had for several years. Then we moved, and it had to go in a garage from a rental we were in, and it got wet and destroyed, unfortunately. But it was cool. I really liked having it. And I really wanted to mount a vertical screen main machine too, for games like Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man and Centipede, all the games that were like a vertical monitor. In fact, I bought a 4x3, a 17-inch 4x3 LCD monitor. They're harder to find now, the 4x3 aspect ratio, but because it was vertical, but vertical 4x3 is perfect for those vertical games from the 80s, like Miss Pac-Man and yeah, just Dig Dug, all those fun games. And I just haven't done it yet, but I hope to eventually. Yeah, my Wii plays GameCube games. Okay, cool. I've never even seen a Wii U, but I know they were pretty they were popular. I don't think they ever got as popular as the original Wii, but I could be wrong there. But I loved the Wii because it was so easy to soft mod, and it just opened it up to be such a great console. It was just really cool. And now USB drives are, so sizable in such a small form factor. I mean, when my kids were growing up, I had this big external, spinning media drive that, had to plug in on its own. It was a big, 3.5 inch, SATA hard drive or whatever. But now, you can get one of those small form factor USB 3 drives that'll hold, 256 or 512 gigs of stuff and, fit in like the size of your thumbnail. So those are cool. YouTube series of Portuguese dudes making arcade cabinets. You know what? I've never had the space to actually do woodworking, like to make an arcade cabinet. That's why the one behind me, I bought a used Neo Geo cabinet and I gutted it. And then I, put new hardware in it. But I've always wanted to build one. And then like you can get is X Arcade, is that still a thing where you can get like X Arcade joystick things all pre-made? Because those are nice. When I did it, I had to wire it from scratch, which was part of the fun, but also kind of a pain in the butt. Big 40 gig hard drive. Yeah, that's about what it was. But I mean, 40 gigs would hold a lot of Wii discs. So anyway. Let's play a game of Spot the Nerds on Sunday evening. Any console? Yeah. Oh man. And I have a lot of consoles. USB controllers have gotten better. I completely agree with you. They used to be really crappy, but now if I were to build like a RetroPie box, which I've built several RetroPie boxes, I would just get USB controllers because they're better. They used to be so horrible, but now like a Super Nintendo controller, you get a USB Super Nintendo form factor controller, and they're actually usable. They're not bad. They used to be so horrible. In fact, sometimes now I think they're better than using one of the originals because the originals are getting so old that they don't work as well anymore. Like their cords get that like undue stiffness and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, Micro Center has a whole section of DIY with arcade parts. That's cool. It was really difficult to buy leaf switch joysticks because, okay, gonna get nerdy. I only have a couple minutes left, I know. But so when I made that cabinet behind me, my wife really likes Miss Pac-Man. And so to get Miss Pac-Man to play properly, it needs a leaf switch joystick, which means that it does, like the joystick was basically like free range, like in a circle. It didn't have like the cross pattern. And so you didn't have to go like chunk, 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 chunk. You could literally roll it. And then the leaf switches would just press as it got to the proper spot. And so in order to not emulate, but in order to actually play like an original Miss Pac-Man, you had to get that special leaf switch joystick, which didn't have micro switches, and it was really difficult to get. And my wife's dad's friend at the time was a guy that had arcades and like supplied arcade cabinets to businesses all over northern Michigan. And so at his house, he just had arcade parts and stuff. And so as a wedding gift, I mean, we're celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary this year, but for a wedding gift, it was a late wedding gift. We were already married, but he gave Donna an original Miss Pac-Man leaf switch joystick, which I installed in the arcade cabinet, which was just kind of cool. So yes, Tanuki's, yes, it was 4-way instead of an 8-way. And specifically, it had leaf switches instead of the micro switches. Like there was no clicky, like even a 4-way now, that if I were to do it now, I mean, I'd never get one of those original leaf switch things, and you had to adjust them anyway because they would bend out of whack a little bit. But Yeah, right now I would do it with the 4-way, but the 4-way would still have the micro switches, and it would be again what I would do now. But at the time, you couldn't buy a 4-way micro switch joystick. You could only get the 8-way, because that's just if you at the time main cabinets weren't a thing, and so the gaming cabinets were either leaf switch without the without the cross, or they were micro switches and things. So anyway, yeah, it was an interesting time when I did the cabinet. But anyway, yeah. Just making a touchscreen input and arcade buttons for a farming sim input board with Raspberry Pi. Ooh, well, that sounds fun. I always wanted to make a cocktail cabinet, with like Miss Pac, like with multiple games, but only the cocktail games. The cocktail ones are the ones that sit down and you would sit across from a person, and it would be like a tabletop thing. I wanted to make a coffee table for our front room that was a main cabinet that just had the cocktail games, the games that were designed to work in cocktail mode. I never did that. And I know that you can buy them, cocktail cabinets, and some of them are like main cabinets now that are pre-made for that. I just never did it, but I always thought that'd be a really cool thing to have in your living room, like a coffee table that could function as a coffee table, but also it could be a fun gaming system for some nostalgia there, like the head-to-head Pac-Mans and stuff. So yeah. So anyway, what else? We're about out of time. My grandpuppy's nails are getting too long and she freaks out about a clipper. So I tried one of those. Has anybody ever used one of the nail grinders on a dog's nails? I bought one. I'm not sure what to expect. Anybody use one of those where it's like, it almost looks like a Dremel tool, but it's like quiet, and I don't know. I figure she's probably going to freak out just as bad with that as she did with the clippers. So we'll see. I don't know. That's about all I got though. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm glad that I made it home in time. Thank you, Airplane, for arriving a little bit early, so I made it home in time to do the live stream. And yeah, wish me luck. I have to get a bunch of work done this week. So hope that the sores on my cheeks don't flare up. And yeah, hopefully I can just do some recording about Google Workspace. So hopefully that goes well. Scott, you have them with your half boxer and lab. He did great. Good. Does he freak out with the clippers? Because that's the concern. Like Millie, our grandpuppy, just freaks out with the clippers. I'm hoping that if I keep trying to play with her nails, and then I'm hoping that she'll let me use the grinder. I don't know. I just hope it goes well. I'll report back. But anyway, have a good weekend, everybody. And yeah, thanks for being nerdy with me. He hates the clippers. I'm encouraged. I hope it goes well. But have a great week, everybody. Thanks for being nerdy and hanging out with me and everybody else. And yeah, I'll talk to everybody later. Have a great one. I forgot how to end the stream, so now I'm just going to keep awkwardly talking. All right, there we go. Yeah, found it. All right, talk to everybody later.